Just a couple of days after her mother lost her life, Suzette Jordan was the woman who hated being called the Park Street rape survivor. We'll be joined by Rhea Jordan, her daughter, to tell us a little bit more about the struggle of her mother and how she intends to carry on with this. Well, that's a big story that we are going to be tracking. They're going to be joining us in just a few moments from now. We'll also have a lot more on this program. Still no arrests 4 days after the horrific rape of a 70-year-old nun in Ranaghat in West Bengal, but the political blame game has well and truly begun. The Trinamool Congress says protests by people who blocked Mamta visiting the spot are part of a political conspiracy. On a day the Prime Minister tweeted his concern on the attack in Bengal and the attack on an under-construction church in Hisar in Haryana. But first, let's quickly move on to some breaking news coming in. The Cabinet has cleared the Black Money Bill, which is a provision for 10 years in jail for concealing income tax and foreign assets. The government is likely to introduce the bill in the ongoing session of Parliament. Rahul Srivastav joins us now for more details on this. Okay, Rahul, what are you hearing about this? It's going to be monitored very, very carefully, obviously, and there's going to be strict punishments as well if income is concealed.
Vishnu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP promised it in their election campaign, and since then the government has been operating through vis-a-vis the SIT. There have been certain disclosures, but there has been a political clamour that where is the black money that the BJP and the NDA had promised during the election campaign, which is going to be brought to India, and all the people who hold those foreign assets will be punished. In his budget speech, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had promised that there will be a bill. But it seems, given the kind of climate which is prevailing in Parliament, the government, it seems, has hastened the process as far as this bill on black money is concerned. What we are hearing that the Cabinet has cleared this bill, and the stringent punishment this time, there will be not just that you pay your taxes and you pay your fines and you can get away with it. Punishment can last up till 10 years of rigorous imprisonment. Means if you hold foreign assets or monies illegally, then you can get sentenced up to 10 years of rigorous imprisonment. The tax rate is also going to be very high. Right. That is going to be decided. Something close to 300% is going to be the tax. Beyond that, there is going to be also fines and penalties. One more factor, Vishnu, India has agreed to sign an agreement on information sharing, automatic information sharing as far as foreign assets held by Indian nationals abroad is concerned with the United States. That means that the FATCA has been signed, which is a foreign money compliance rule, with which India will automatically get information about Indians holding foreign assets.
All right, so lots of important details over there, Rahul. We're going to have to study this fine print very, very closely. Thank you very much for joining us with that. We're going to return now to our big focus this evening. Just a few lines from a heartwarming essay written by Suzette Jordan's young daughter Rhea, and Rhea will be speaking to us in just a few moments now. It's what captures what Suzette Jordan, the woman, as we mentioned, hated to be known as the Park Street rape survivor. Just a few lines on Suzette, who died just a few days back in hospital. She was very unwell. The only person I dreamed to be like is my mother. She had her bad days, never completed her education. She'd drink, she'd smoke, she'd sometimes get into my clothes too. She had 21 tattoos and a whole lot of scars from mutilation. She was a rebel. She never had a permanent job. But my mother was one of a kind. She taught me to believe in myself. Never is it important to fit in. It's okay to stand out and enjoy the view, she'd say. There have been days where we never had any money, not a rupee at home to eat. It's okay, she'd smile reassuringly, at least we have each other. Joining us now for the first time since Suzette Jordan lost her life. She was very unwell in hospital. I'm joined by Rhea Jordan, her daughter, and Peter Jordan, her father. I'd like to thank all of you very, very much for speaking to us. Rhea, it's unbelievable to actually see you here. It's just been less than a week since you lost your mother. And I read that essay of yours. It's gone viral. People are talking about it. But what struck me most about the life of your mother was that she gave millions of rape survivors an identity. Was it very difficult for her to actually decide that, okay, yes, I have been raped, but I want the world to know my name? How did that process happen in her mind?
She just had to believe in herself. She didn't have to do much really. It wasn't her fault whatever happened with her. And I think that whatever she did was like a wonderful thing. She didn't have nothing to be ashamed about, so she already knew that.
You have decided that you're going to carry on with her struggle. You're going to fight for the rights of women who have been raped. Is that the fundamental task, the fundamental purpose that you see ahead of you in your life, Rhea?
Yes, I do. My mother, she died fighting for it, and I will continue to do that for her.
She was ostracized to a great deal, to a great extent. Rhea, you had to move residence. She was thrown out of a restaurant. She wasn't allowed to enter this restaurant. And yet she chose to be a person who would still smile, who would still live life to the fullest. Tell us a little bit about how she managed to overcome being ostracized in this manner.
She never really overcame it. She just, I don't know, like, she just tried to, look past all of this, look past the bad. Just because she wasn't allowed into one restaurant doesn't mean she should stop living her life.
Mr. Jordan?
Maybe that didn't mean much.
Mr. Jordan, tell us a little bit
Yes.
about Suzette. She would have been very defiant as a parent. Was that a problem for you? The fact that she chose to speak her mind, do exactly as she pleased. She was rebellious and she prided herself for being rebellious. Was that a problem for you as a father?
No, she wasn't a rebel as a child. No. She wasn't a rebel as a child. She was daring. She wanted to see and she wanted to know everything about her. You know, there wasn't any rebelliousness in her. It's when she grew up, maybe she started adopting, started learning and started seeing the world and started wanting to be part of the world. And that's what, made her want more and more. I think she realized when very young that she didn't have enough time. That's why she tried to push in as much as she could get out of life.
Rhea, she hated being called a rape survivor. She hated those words. She felt she needed to embrace the reality of her life. Tell us a little bit about the reasons why she didn't want to be called a rape survivor, how she felt it was insulting to what she was as a person.
It was insulting because that was not her identity. Her name was Suzette Jordan. She was a mother of 2 children. She was a daughter. She was a sister. She wasn't a rape victim.
Rhea, perhaps the biggest battle that your mother would have faced is after she was brutally assaulted on Park Street were political remarks which were made that this was a Shajano Ghotona. In other words, this entire rape had been fabricated. How did she find the strength to deal with an entire political class that seemed to be against her?
She was very humble. It didn't matter what, everyone has their own opinions as to what's what. She knew the truth and she fought towards it.
Okay.
She didn't challenge anybody. That wasn't her motive. Her motive was just justice.
Mr. Jordan, how did you see your daughter embracing the life of an activist, of someone who decided that come what may, I'm going to speak for the rights of women who have suffered so much?
Oh, that was a lovely move by Suzette, really. And that was the only thing that would have got it off her mind. The tragedy that happened with her. I think by working with these women, she found a new calling in life.
All right.
And that calling helped to take her mind off things.
When you as a father came across political remarks made, for example, a Trinamool MP had actually referred to that to the attack on her as being a sex deal gone wrong, people in power in West Bengal making remarks like this, how did you reach out to your daughter and tell her that you were there for her?
Oh, she knew I was there for her. We told her that right from the first day we were there. We were there with her. And we also told her not to bother what anyone said, because everybody, as Rhea said, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. If somebody says that's a Sajano Gotna, that's a Sajano Gotna for them. That's the way they interpret it. If somebody says it's a sex deal gone wrong, that's the way they interpret it. But how, my friend, would they answer this? Was the nun in Ranaghat of the same ilk as Susie? What was her fault?
No, what was anybody's fault? The issue of fault doesn't arise. These were brutal attacks by animals.
Yeah,
in all cases.
Yes, but they also said that Susie was provocative. Suzette drank. Suzette was in a nightclub. Suzette was this and Suzette was that, and it was a sex deal gone wrong, and it was Sajano Gotna. They tried to pin the blame on her for being raped. She got raped. They tried to blame her for it.
Rhea, tell us
That's
a little
why
bit more
she fought
about.
against the system.
Tell us a little bit more about what your grandfather is referring to. The fact that she never shied away from, and in your own article you write, drinking, dancing, dating, going to slut walks, how she felt that this is the person she was, that she was not going to be bogged down by stereotypes of what an ideal woman should be leading their life as. Tell us a little bit more about your mother.
She was always a person like this. And just because something bad happened to her, I did not expect her to change. Why should she lose the meaning of her life just because something bad happened to her?
Okay. Is there anything else, Rhea? Why don't you complete your thoughts, what you are trying to say? Okay, I understand. I understand it is really difficult for you at this stage. Mr. Jordan, what about the case itself? That continues. Do you believe that there will finally be justice for Suzette? It's just a matter of time, but that justice will come.
Yes, I believe that we will have justice. I would very much. She died. I would very much have liked her to have witnessed that justice, but I'm sorry she hasn't. I'm sure at the same time that in another couple of months she would have been vindicated and she would have received justice. Yes.
Rhea, one of the points in your life and that of your mother was very often there were times when money wasn't there, living was difficult, and she would always turn around and say that forget about the money as long as we've got each other. She was a person who overcame adversity all her life, for so many years in her life. Tell us a little bit more about that.
We have had to struggle most of our lives. But the fact that she was there with us and she had us help us overcome all obstacles.
How did
we
you...
wouldn't have to worry about
the
next day's food as long as we were together. We knew we'd get it somehow.
Rhea, how did you...
But the fact that we were together...
Yes.
It's all that mattered. I'm sorry, you can carry on.
No, I understand it's very difficult and I will not belabor this any further, other than to ask you, Mr. Jordan, how did you see attitudes progressively change all around you as a result of the work that Suzette ended up doing in speaking out, in appearing on talk shows, in lending her face, in giving an identity and a voice to people who've suffered so much, rape survivors? How did attitudes progressively change to her?
Everybody started seeing her in a new light. Everybody started seeing the fighter in her. We knew she was a fighter. The rest didn't know. all they thought of her is the Park Street rape victim, but she was a fighter. We saw it all along. We knew she would fight. She just needed encouragement from us. And when she started fighting and she started getting the accolades and, people talking about her and making it known that she was doing something right, I think she was the happiest then. It's just that we are sorry that she didn't, stay around long enough to do this. But we intend carrying this work forward, with your help, of course.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for joining us this evening. Rhea, I can't think of a braver person than you or your grandfather to come out and speak in the manner in which you have, to carry on the legacy of your mother, to speak out for the rights of those who've gone through hell on earth. And we stand with you as you carry on with this battle. Thank you very much for joining us.